Good afternoon and welcome to Thirsty Thursday with me, Claire Manning from Thirsty Brush. If you enjoy any kind of paper crafty videos, then do subscribe to the How to Craft Network channel and hit the bell, and you will be notified of all the videos from myself, Tony, Carly and Simon. So today, after yesterday's launch, so do bear in mind I've recorded this before the launch, so I hope everybody managed to get a hold of everything they wanted from the fabulous new So Sweet collection. I'm going to use the When Life Gives You Lemons set. I just think it's full of sunshine, and life has dosed us all quite a lot of lemons in the last year or so, hasn't it? So just something to cheer us up. A little bit gin themed as well, which is undoubtedly one of the most popular drinks. Again, I remember when I was a kid and only old ladies drank gin, and now it's like this cool thing with all these different flavours and everything, and everybody's super into it, me included. I don't mind an odd gin or two. So I hope you're all well anyway, and I thought I'll give you a deeper insight into this set if you ordered it and you're waiting for it, to give you some more inspiration. There was tons of cards on yesterday's shows, obviously, but just something a bit different that I didn't get a chance to demonstrate. But actually today is Tuesday morning, early Tuesday morning, and I'm finishing prepping for the show, and I thought, well, rather than do a separate demonstration, why not just turn the camera on while I'm doing the last few of my cards to put on the set and give you some ideas. So with that in mind, I haven't 100% planned this card. In my mind I have, but not I haven't practiced it or anything. What I do want to do is do something nice and bright and yellow with the lemons and combine it with this lovely navy blue cardstock. So I just think navy and yellow together, it really makes the yellow pop of the lemons. And I fancy doing quite a big card today. So I've got, this is an A5. Horse is growling, eating his blanket. Can you hear him? Yeah, A5 navy blue card blanket that I've made out of some navy blue card myself, and a piece just slightly smaller to start off with. So let's do the stamping of the lemons first. I'm actually going to chop into it because it's really fabulous to cut out some of these smaller lemons in there as well, and I'm hoping to layer them up. So let's grab my Eureka and some ink. How is everybody anyway? A little bit warmer this week than all the snow last week, but now it's like rain and a bit warmer instead, isn't it? But does that mean that spring is on the way? Maybe that was... It's a bit too early for the last cold snap, isn't it? So this fabulous big square stamp, obviously it's got that lovely double line on there. Nearly said double yellow, like it was the road. So I'm going to stamp the whole lot just to show you, if you didn't catch yesterday's show, what it looks like. But obviously if you're going in and fussy cutting certain bits, you don't need to worry about the ink on everywhere. Just pop your ink on the lemon that you want. So that's the whole piece. Just get that last bit of ink there. If you want the whole thing together and your dies cut out both a single outline to leave it a full stamped image, or the lovely plate that comes with it. Where is that? That will cut all your details as well, but it is separate, so you can do one or the other. Let's clean that down, because the next couple of bits, so I can fussy cut these two here and this single one. then I want another single one. Let's just pop this here so my stamp doesn't go flop onto the edge and make it hard to press down. Oops. Only really want that bit. Okay, got ink on my thumb. So yeah, it's Tuesdays I'm recording this, so the day before the show, so I actually can't wait to go and get out of the house and see other humans, and obviously it will be all distanced and safe and all that, and it's essential work for me, as in I understand I'm not a key worker, but I can't do the TV bit from home. I just haven't got the equipment and things, so they give us permission to travel just for that. But hopefully, you never know, things might be easing up soon. Or starting to anyway. So I know that looks a bit of a funny page, but I wanted to show you one with the full stamp and then how I just go in when there's certain bits that I want, because I don't like any waste. And I want one more of the single as well. So I think I've got a second piece of card to hand. And I'll just do it up in the corner so I can use the rest of the card for something else. There we go. So because we're not doing the whole image, I'm going to fussy cut rather than die cut today. You could, if you don't like fussy cutting, do it with the big die cut and then just trim around those areas. I guess the only thing with that is then you potentially got some waste, but you could use those other bits for something else, or you could even cut out the centre of the border, say with another square die, and use that border bit for something. That might be useful. So I'll cut one just to show you what it looks like, but then I might pause while I chop the others to save you hanging on. So I've just gone in for that main lemon there, which is the biggest lemon in the design. And I'm just gonna go pretty close as I can really. So I should end up with, I think I've done it purposely, so I've got an odd number of lemons. A bit like when you're doing your sequins, try and do things in odd numbers, and then, I don't know, it just looks better for some reason. More pleasing to the eye. It's that, all those art rules, isn't it, of like the rule of thirds and the odds and evens and things like that. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I have done it as an odd number. Okay, so that's the first one. So I'll just chop into the others and I'll be back in a moment. Right, so I've chopped all my lemons up. And it actually took a couple of minutes. But like I say, use the die and then just trim it down to the size you want if you're not a big fussy cutting fan. It's much easier. Managed to get myself a little cup of tea while I was there. And let's get out our lovely watercolour palette and give these lemons some colour, shall we? Oh, I need to fill up my brush. 1 second. Right, got water in my brush. Let's have a look at this beautiful yellow. and get some colour on there. So if you haven't used this type of brush before, the more you squeeze where it says push, then the more water you will get. So we're using this just to give it a nice wash. And then I will go to a smaller brush possibly for a bit of detail if you want to see how I do a bit of that. But this is a larger brush, which is just great for just getting down some colour. And some I'll put more water than others, just to vary the shade of yellow. That's a really nice trick as well if you do straight from your palette on the one side, and then when you're about halfway or a third through, push for a bit more water, and then that will give you instant bit of light and shade there. Let's put a little bit more of the dark yellow on that one. Just squeezing a bit of water onto the pan. Really loose in this for the wash, doesn't need to be detailed at all. Okay, while the lemon's dry, let's add a bit to the leaves. So I've just squeezed a bit of water out just to clean my brush, and then you can just do the last little bit on there. Take some of that green over here, and then you have got a darker green as well. So depending, if you want it a bit lighter as well, you can mix in your palette. Like to mix those two greens together on my palette, and then squeeze for a bit more water. Watercolours always dry a bit lighter as well. So if you think, oh my goodness, it's too dark, don't worry. You can always add more water and it will always. You see now those, when they've dried, they're much lighter than these ones. There will be a variation of how much of the paint that we've put on, but you'd be surprised. They dry back quite translucent. These are looking really vibrant. So some of them I'm doing a little bit less green, some of them a little bit more, like I did with the lemons. And you're just going to get that real natural look then. Okay. Just clean off my brush. Always give it an extra rinse if you want. Sometimes they do get stained on the tips, but please don't worry, as long as, see, there's no green on there at all. It's just the pigment. Right, what was I going to do? Yes, add a tiny bit of detail. Just with a finer brush. I've got a smaller one here. Just a slightly thinner tip on. This is totally optional, of course. What I really like on lemons is when you mix in a tiny bit of, say, orange, or even a little bit of red and blue for a purple, gives you like a shadow type colour. But let's just stick to just main yellow with a bit of orange, if you can see that. So it's just slightly darker. yellow. And then I just kind of like dabble. And it just gives a bit of, you know, that kind of dimply texture on your lemons. This kind of stuff I could sit here and do for ages and just build it up layer by layer and make it really, really realistic looking. But just do one little bit for today. But if you want to see a little bit more realistic type lemons, have a look on my Claire Manning Craft channel. There's some lemons that I drew and then painted, and there's loads of different light and shade on them. Let's have a little bit more of that green, and then what I'm going to do is mix in a little bit of brown just to make that a slightly duller green, and a little bit of shade and detail on there. Barely got any water on my brush, and that's when you get that kind of feathery, strokey type effect. Gives fabulous shadow. Again, another time if you want to add a little bit more even. Give you more and more and more depth. And there we go, there's our lovely lemons. So let's start working on the rest of the card. Just pop that aside for now. And keep those just finishing drying off. So on the background, what did I have? My navy card. So I've got A5 and then I've cut one slightly smaller. I want just a little bit of texture on there. So I'm going to use the brickwork background. And I'm going to use some clear embossing powder. So hopefully that will just give us a little bit of texture and shine to this background piece. So if I grab my Eureka, and this is a square stamp, so it's not a problem though. We can kind of stitch it up by stamping at the bottom as well. So I do the top bit first. And if you don't mind doing it a couple of times, you could go across the whole piece, but this is a large piece of card. Like I say, it's pretty much A5, so it's a good size stamp, just that this is a very big card. So my anti-static and then some embossing ink all over. Now this is a very kind of sketchy looking stamp. So I will go in twice, but it lends itself that it doesn't matter if it's perfect anyway. Because the lines aren't perfect themselves on purpose. So that's fine. Let's move, see if we can pop that see how much we can fit on here if I stitch it up. Oops, excuse my head in the way. Might need to move that up a little bit more. Yeah, smooth the card up. So I need the stamp to sit flat. Good grief, I think my hair's falling out everywhere. So you need ink on the top piece for this one. A little bit more. There we go. So we've got an all over brick background. Just clear all this out of the way. And then we'll put the clear powder on. So you could use your gold, your silver, your in the midnight embossing powder, the one that's like navy blue and glittery. That would look beautiful. I just fancied clear for this one, so this is the crystal clear. Oops, God, I always make a mess with this, don't I? Right, just cleared up after myself and then put the rest of the powder on. So let's get that heat set. So that's just going to melt clear. There we go. There we are, gives really nice texture and just makes it look that little bit darker than the card. So when we add these on, it's going to look really cool. So the next thing to do, so I've got card, lemons, background. Show you the bit that I've done ahead of time. It's only a tiny bit, but I used a couple of my rectangle dies to make like a frame. We'll do the sentiment as well in a moment, and I'm going to use the fabulous When Life Gives You Lemons, Pour Yourself a Gin. So I will use a little bit of gold embossing powder for that, which I've got to hand, and then we'll put everything together with this frame that I can't find right now, but never mind. Let's do the sentiments and then I'll pull that out. So Eureka back for the sentiments, and I'm just going to do that on a scrap of white card that I've saved, and then we can trim it down. And the gin part I'm going to do on some navy to tie it all together. So if you've got something like this, this is the die cut part for the gin. If you want to hold it in place, sometimes I use just a little circle of low tack washi or something. Don't need to bother with this one because it's not die cut completely. And then I can do loads of stamping at the same time then. Make sure I've got all the bits that I need. So when life give you lemons. Oh no, we're not doing make lemonade, we're doing gin, aren't we? Pour yourself a gin. So the bit on the white card I'm just doing in black. I like the mix here if you've got that really kind of classic font in the caps, but then you've got that really fun, sketchy font for the gin. So take that bit off. And then the gin's going to be heat embossed. So anti-static bag again. Embossing ink again. And a couple of times, make it really nice and bold. Bold and gold. Get our scrap paper back to catch the powder, and this is our gold digger. Little flick to get off any excess, and then we'll heat set that. That'll come really super shiny. Okay, so let's pop everything together. I've got my lemons. I've found my grey frame that I did with just a couple of rectangle dies. I've got my sentiment, when life gives you lemons, pour yourself a gin, and my background with the bricks. So let's pop that on first. I'm going to raise this up a little bit with some foam. Love this combo of the navy and the yellow, like I said, but also then when you bring in a bit of texture on the background and the grey frame and the gold, I'm hoping it's just going to lift it even more. So just get that centralised properly. Okay. So I want the frame on next. Oh, is the glue coming out? Oops. Don't need much on this bit, so I'm going to try and avoid it squidging out if I can. It's just got to hold in place. It will dry clear though, so if there is a bit that gets anywhere. Okay, and then it's about arranging our lemons and our sentiments. So I kind of want stuff on each corner if possible. So I'm thinking a single and a double down there. And these bits have got extra leaves on as well. So a little bit more up here. What do you think? And then I'm really not sure about the sentiments yet. Might tuck them in, or we'll see. Running out of glue. Where did I put that one? Like that. It's the thing when you move them, isn't it? And you forget then where you've popped them before. And then let's pop a bit of foam behind that one, just to give that a bit of extra dimension. I'm using some quite thin, so if I do want to tuck anything behind anywhere after, I've got plenty of space to glue things. Or you know, your small little square ones, they're handy for stuff like this. So that's kind of coming down. And then these ones down here. Oops. What did I do? Can't remember. Something like that? No, I had it on top, didn't I? Oh, that'll do. So I might have my gin over that bit. Might do the little background dye as well. One second. So you do get your little outer dye for the gin. So I'll just find a scrap of gold. See if that just makes that pop a little bit more. Run that through. Decide where I'm putting these in the meantime. I think it's quite wide, so I think it's going to have to be slap bang in the middle there. Maybe more like that.